We've talked before in our coverage of the AI cases about New York Times et al. V. OpenAI, also known as the News Plaintiffs case, since the plaintiffs are all major news outlets such as the Daily News, as well as news organizations such as the Center for Investigative Reporting. Their case in the highly corrupt Southern District of New York, see our coverage of many different cases there, including Martha Stewart, Ross Ulbricht, and Universal v. Corley, against OpenAI and Microsoft is based on the usual claims we've covered, especially market dilution in which the AI produces competing works that harm the market for their products. They're trying to slip that into Factor 4 of the fair use analysis. The idea is that ChatGPT is trained on articles from the New York Times. Users use ChatGPT to get their news instead of the Times, and that makes it theft instead of fair use. In fact, they're now trying to amend their complaint to say that their services are tailored to infringement because of the Supreme Court's Cox decision. Well, Gallup just produced a key piece of evidence debunking all of that. The headline for the release of their new poll is, quote, "Use of AI to get news in U.S. is rare." Their points were that, quote, 7% say they rely on AI tools when getting news and information. AI ranks at the bottom of sources from which Americans get most news, and many Americans distrust AI-assisted news reporting outright. Of the 2,062 U.S. adults surveyed, only 2% said they rely on AI a great deal, and only 5% said they used it a fair amount. 12% said some, 23% said only a little, and the remaining 57% don't use AI for news at all. It wasn't much better in their coveted 18 to 49 demographic, where just 10% said a great deal or a fair amount, 13% some, 22% only a little, and 54% not at all. All total, 2% said they get their news from AI, compared to 8% magazines, 13% podcasts, 16% search engines, and 17% radio. Cable news broadcast was higher at 20%, and 28% said network television. That paled to news websites and apps, where 44% of people get their news. But the biggest source by far, 54%, more than half, said they get their news from social media. It's social media that's diluting their market, not AI. In fact, Americans distrust AI even more than they distrust the news, even when the AI is being employed by a trusted news source. And that's at a time when distrust in the news has been falling for years. Gallup said, quote, "These findings offer no clear path for news agencies looking to use AI in their reporting while maintaining public trust. Many Americans emphasize the importance of verification of some kind in AI-driven news content, while others emphasize disclosure. But 4 in 10 say their trust in the news would suffer from any use of AI in reporting, creating a challenge for the news industry as it looks to remain competitive in a rapidly changing landscape, while simultaneously trying to rebuild trust in the institution after a decades-long decline." The question now is, does it pose a challenge for the OpenAI cases? Not just the News Plaintiffs case, but many others, including ones from The Intercept, Rickner Communications, and many others. I doubt this will temper the extremely hyperbolic rhetoric about AI destroying journalism, yada yada, but at least it's yet another point we can use to counter it. Remember, what the Neo-Luddites want is nothing less than the destruction of your freedom of speech. Don't give them an inch.